you?
You too. How are you?
I'm doing great. Can you see, like, I'm using my phone as a camera, so it should be like pretty clear, right?
Yeah, it looks
awesome.
great. Looks really good. And your background looks very pro. I love it.
I think you look even better than us.
I know.
Impossible. You two are the most beautiful couple in the world, so.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. We're so happy that you reached out. Thank you so much.
Yes.
This is amazing. This is so funny. It's just like, I look at you guys doing reviews all the time, and I'm like, I gotta email them. So this is great.
I love that. And yeah, so we're gonna talk about that. So right now it's technically recording. But
It's like backstage.
Just in case something fun comes up, for bloopers.
To check the internet. It's just
take my clothes off. I mean, what something,
Perfect time for that.
So, Jason, are we too loud?
Yeah.
For you?
How do you hear us?
Perfect.
Okay,
Absolutely perfect. Yeah.
You too.
Oh, let me change into my cool glasses.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Let's see.
Don't get old because you can't see anymore.
But look at me, Jason. I just experienced this 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, almost.
And then I was like, I was in denial. And I didn't want to use them, and I was like, then I'm like, I can't see.
And the eye doctor was like, "Yep, you're right on schedule."
I wore reading glasses when I was 18, and I'd get on the computer and put them on, and every once in a while I put them on. And then one day I was teaching at the collective in the city, and I had been wearing my glasses all day long, walking around. And I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, this is so much better. And then within 2 years, I had progressives, and I'm walking with a walker, and it's.
Wow.
But that's how it is.
That is, yep. You start. So, okay, so we've got some just general outline questions from what we gathered from the bio that you sent us.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you
don't
want to talk about, or something you want to highlight, or something you'd rather not?
If you knew me personally, which you guys do now, nothing is off the table.
Oh,
so
okay. All right.
Whatever. I've already talked about taking my clothes off, so we're good.
Yeah. Let's start there. Okay. And then at the end, I thought it would be fun to do a little lightning round, speed kind of questions just to end. Do you want me to tell you what those questions might be, or you want to just wing it? Okay.
Let's improvise. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's a musician.
I love it. Okay.
He gets put into these situations every day,
All the time, yes.
Perfect. Yes. So, anything, just so you know, can be edited at the end.
Okay.
So that's
using this new software. It's so cool.
Yeah.
You can even edit out entire phrases and stuff.
We normally don't. Our videos are usually
it's always
one
very
shot,
one take,
but
just in case.
If there's something you say or whatever, you're like, please don't put that in. We can edit it out.
No, but because with Joe we had some really bad technical issues. He had an outage.
Yeah.
So
I heard
he had to relocate almost every 20 minutes.
Yeah,
sometimes
it was fun.
So he started in a studio, then in his car, then he ended up in the kitchen. It's actually very cool. He's time traveling.
On his benefit, we did have really bad weather that day. It was awful, right? But that's also very Joe. Me and the guitar player of the band, always look at each other because Joe will be doing a sound test, and you hear and we just look at each other and just go like every damn gig, man. So it's very Joe too.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
I love it.
All right, so I have a little intro thingy that I'm gonna read. Is there anything you need or want to say before we get started?
Do it up.
Okay.
One thing, Alexia, can you close that or make it less bright so we don't look like ghosts?
This?
Yeah.
I don't think that's affecting, because that's why I put this black.
Okay.
You think?
Perfect.
What is it? How does that make a big difference there on my face?
Nah.
This is cool software.
Jason has such cool lighting.
I know.
Look at his room.
Our lighting is
we should
not the best.
take an example from you. I love the plant.
Looks really good.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm planning on growing oranges or coconuts on this thing or something,
Perfect. But yeah, Riverside is really cool. There's even a way at the end where, right now I'm editing Joe's interview, and I can make shorts out of cool parts. And you know how in the shorts when people talk, you've got the subtitles like this?
Yeah.
I can do that with this.
We never knew how to do it, and I'm
very excited.
Finally.
Yeah. So, okay, let's do this. All right.
One.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Today, we're joined by the incredibly versatile drummer and educator Jason Gianni, a man whose credits range from Broadway pits to prog rock bands you love. You might know him as the drummer behind the SpongeBob SquarePants theme, or from his work with the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Neal Morse, where he subbed for Mike Portnoy, and most recently, Stratus Furious, the powerhouse prog band led by Joe Denonzone. Jason reached out after catching our reaction to Impostor, and today we're diving into everything from composing with Joe, his musical influences, tour stories, what it's like to teach at some of the top music schools in the country, and how he balances it all in today's music landscape. Welcome, Jason.
Wow, I mean, already, I think the interview's over already. This is great.
You spilled all the beans.
Well, you know, I want to highlight what people are in for. So we're so honored to have you, Jason, on the show. Thank you so much for reaching out and for agreeing to be here with us and giving us your time. It's wonderful.
Oh my God, thank you guys. I mean, I said when we got on, I'm used to seeing you cry over songs and stuff like that. This is great,
Especially me. I can't help it.
I'm like you, Nick, so don't worry about it.
It's just that music sometimes it's so powerful.
Oh, yeah.
It is what it is.
And before we sign off, I'm gonna give you some more recommendations because I want to see Nick cry more. So.
Brother.
Yes.
Okay.
It's so funny. We one time we went to Mexico to this gym, and we stayed with Jim. He watches us, and he's like, "Thanking you for making me cry all the night."
It was really cool.
It's great.
He was like, that's the first thing he said. Like, oh God, Nick, you're too much.
Do you remember, Jason, since you have watched our channel before we reacted to Impostor, do you remember the first reaction of ours that you saw, or your favorite one that you've seen?
It's funny. I was thinking of this before we got on, and I think that the way it went, I had been on YouTube and maybe like 3 years ago, and I started going down the rabbit hole of people reacting to videos. And you guys came up, and you were reacting over a lot of stuff that I listen to constantly and everything. And I have to admit that I had 2 reactions to the reactive videos. Actually, well, let me say it this way. I had one main reaction, and my reaction was, why are people doing this?
The story.
Okay. And I just didn't get it at first. I was just like, well, why are people just sitting around doing this? But then what ended up happening was that as I went down that rabbit hole, and especially recently, I started realizing that I really started to enjoy watching people react over the songs that I had the same, reaction. Like I've already said, like if I could go back and have those feelings again of like listening to like Close to the Edge or like Hemispheres or something like again in my life, I'd love to revisit that because I don't remember how that feels.
Yes.
So watching it through other people has become like a real joy for me,
I love that.
And and then the second thing was, finding my own. I've had several reaction videos where I go, oh my God, they're reacting over what I played on, and that to me is like so flattering and so great. So whereas I don't really remember the exact moment I saw you guys, I do remember that time and how it sort of evolved into this where we are now.
That's wonderful. And that's exactly, you nailed it. That's what people tell us that they like is going back to that moment and that note or that change that made them go, oh my God. And
that little 5-second part that you rewind constantly because it's so good. And then to see someone react to that's crazy.
Absolutely.
I don't know what it does, but I remember the first time I saw a reaction video, I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Why would people do this? And then, but also, there's different videos where people overreact. It's not real. It's like people fall out of the chairs. I always say that. But then there's really people that get it. They're like listening, and they're like, wow. It's almost like it's like the light bulb goes off. Yeah.
And for us too,
that's that moment that I aspire to.
Absolutely. And for us too, exactly like you said, Jason, it's cool. We say this and we think about this a lot. We have those moments on tape for us for the future,
Sure.
So
when we're old and wrinkly, we can watch our videos. That's literally why we do it. Like also, because just to have like this archive of us. When I showed her Alan Holdsworth the first time, that kind of deal. I like, oh my God, she liked it because nobody likes Alan Holdsworth. I mean, only musicians,
Only musicians,
Yeah. So, but it's just so nice, and all the Steely Dan we did together, and Metallica for the first time when she heard Metallica, she only knew what like
A few songs.
The new Metallica, which I'm not so attached to, but when I played something like Damage Incorporated, her mind was blown.
Yeah. I mean, the way the industry is nowadays, with the fact that, I mean, we don't have to get into this because we all know the music that is popular these days,
right?
You know, and you know, the ability to have people like yourself have an outreach of either promoting new stuff that's really great or promoting old stuff that's really influenced the new stuff,
right,
is something that is it's a real gift. You know, I'm sure this would take a while, but I'd love to know how you guys got into it and how it fell into your hands, you know?
Oh gosh, yeah, that is definitely a story. So really, Nick was kind of uploading some weird jazz fusion stuff that he would listen to, just stuff that
because I wanted to. Yeah, so basically my goal was I wanted to have a really cool jazz fusion prog rock channel that people like. That's it, right? But I didn't know about all the copyright laws, so it was very dumb, you know, from me, just very naive.
You just wanted to share like.
I just wanted to give people joy.
Find it
yeah, it's like I found this like the concert was what was it? Soft Machine. Remember?
Oh yeah.
So Soft Machine. So I uploaded this Soft Machine clip, and we got a copyright strike. And if you get 3, you're done. Your channel is dead. And so I was like, I wrote to the guy, to the owner of the music, and he's like, "No, don't use my stuff."
Which makes
really?
sense.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it makes sense in a way because. And then I was like, well, you know, I guess I'm done with YouTube.
And then I was like, well, why? I heard about this reaction thing. I was looking online, like how to avoid copyright strikes, and
I mean, you
said
still
if
get
you react to the content, then you're transforming it by providing your commentary, so then you can dispute the copyright claim
as fair use.
We don't make money, but at least
it can stay up, and it's called fair use, Jason. So it's like, so basically you're transforming it. It's not just like you're uploading the song.
Yeah, so I told him, why don't you show me those weird songs, and then people might want to see like my reaction to this weird ass music.
So the first time we did it. I don't know why at the time.
It was a test.
It was a test, and we used
In Your Eyes by
Peter Gabriel. And it was so like, and we've only listened to, it was during COVID, and we were only listening to like one band. Super weird time because we were just at home. And COVID, and we just were listening to this weird German band. And then we put on Peter Gabriel, and it was so good that I just started crying. And then she's like, "There's gonna be a lot of crying around here."
It was just like I wanted to know if we could be ourselves on camera, you know?
Yeah.
So
and that's what the first video, and we actually said we're not gonna upload this, just a test, and we did it all wrong, and then we did end up.
And then we ended up here.
Yeah.
So but enough about us. Let's talk about you.
Well, I'm glad it worked out, by the way. It brought us together, so this is perfect.
Exactly. So I really just want to talk about the elephant in the room. I was a huge SpongeBob fan. Okay. Humongous. So for me, it's very, very cool. When I read that, I was like fangirling more than any other part of your bio. And I heard the song again, and I was like, oh, you know. So tell me, how did that like happen? What's the story behind it? And did you know that show was going to be so iconic when you did that?
Okay, so long story, but we'll try to make it as digestible as possible. So my wife and I lived in California for 10 years. We're from New Jersey, where we live now, and she was doing a master's degree in photojournalism. We went out there, wanted to stay for about a year till she was done, and we ended up staying for 10 years. I was signed in a band. Wow. It was like it was a whole thing. Anyway, one of the things that I did was when I got out there, I looked up every single studio in the Bay Area, and I visited every single studio.
Nice. Okay.
Mainly it was to get, I had in mind that I always wanted to do this sort of multimedia type work, you know, for movies. And I was young, I was like 23, 24, but I knew how to read music really well, coming off of degrees for myself. And I was like, you know what, I could do this. I could do session work right away. And so there was like the phone book. Do you remember that? Do you guys even know that?
Yes, of course.
And there was also something called the Real Book, which if you know, musicians know something called the Real Book, which is all jazz standards, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this was actually called the REEL, and it was a book that showed all the like lighting companies, management companies, studios in the Bay Area. It was like this whole like encyclopedia. I was like, holy crap, that's amazing. So I literally got on my car. I had a notebook next to me on my seat, and I went to all these different studios.
Wow.
And it's funny. I tell the story all the time. I'm like, like some studios were literally like people's garages where a guy in like half naked would come out in the bathroom and be like, "What are you doing at my house?" You know, sorry, you know. That's off the list, you know. And some of them were like decent studios. Some of them, like I visited a studio called Fantasy Studios, which is where Primus did a lot of the recordings. I'm like, oh yeah, I know this, you know. And they're like, we don't really do a lot of like session work, that kind of thing, but we'll give you a call, you know. But I went to this one studio in off the Embarcadero in San Francisco called Hank Smith Music, which has turned into Music Orange, which they're just working like me out of houses now rather than studios.
Yeah.
And I walked in and there was like a secretary and there was 2 live rooms. There was a kitchen. I'm like, oh, this is what I'm talking about.
People with pants on.
Yeah.
Great.
Unlike me, you just can't see below here. So, and it was like the real deal. And I was like, oh my God. I met the owner and he goes, you know, we really do need someone like you. I'm like, great. So funny side story. A week later, I get a call and I'm like, my wife answers the phone. She's like, Hank Smith Music? I'm like, oh. So I answer the phone and they're like, can you come down and do this thing for Showtime? And I'm like, cool. You know, you guys know what Showtime is, right?
Yeah, of course.
Some people don't. It's so funny. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. You know, what is it? He's like, well, it's kind of like embarrassing, but it's one of those like late night Cinemax type of movies. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, my first gig is a porn. Woo! You know? Yeah, actually, it was really classy. It was like Sade. It was like really cool. It was like, you know, it was a softcore thing, you know, but it was a real movie, you know, and everything. And I was like, oh, that's great. So,
I love the Sade, because yes, it's literally that kind of music. But go ahead.
It was like that, and from there it spilled into doing all these commercials, and you know, I did a couple things for like Bugs Life, the movie, and you know, things like that. And then one day, I get a call from them. Hey guys, what's up? You know, hey. He goes, can you come in and do this pilot? And I'm like, sure. And I go, yeah, and it was like a pilot, but a lot of times pilots are just single episodes. He goes, it's a 6 pilot episode for Nickelodeon, and I'm like, oh, now at the time, so I was only like 25, and I didn't have like a main gig, and I was looking to get better gigs and endorsements of companies and stuff like that, and being in California and not having anybody to really reach out to because all my family and people I knew were on the East Coast or LA, I was like, finally I get something where I can say like 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, tune in and I'm on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was finally something, because like a commercial, you can't, like if I'm doing like a Sprint commercial, you can't be like telling when it's on.
You never know.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, that's cool.
And I'd done a lot by then. It was really cool. I was really building up my resume, but I didn't have anything that was like timed like this, you know?
Right.
So I go into the studio, and they go, okay, so this is what it is. And they show us the theme, which you guys have seen a million times. And it's just like a bass line and a click track, like boom, 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 boom. So no like lyrics or anything. And I see the sponge explode, and I'm like, what the hell? What? Really? Yeah. What are we doing? You know?
I cannot.
It's unbelievable. So, and the beat, I don't know, can you hear this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so the beat was like a, you know, like that kind of thing, and I'm like, that doesn't sound so good, you know? So they start putting together the track a little bit, and I'm like, well, what if we did like this, like, you know, that kind of like what we call a train beat, and they're like, oh, we love that. So we started kind of putting the theme together. And the accordion player was there, and we lay it down.
Wow. And
we also laid down, as a side note, a little trivia here, we laid down a second cartoon theme song called Prickles the Cactus. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
No.
So it was, SpongeBob is on Nickelodeon, and Prickles was on Cartoon Network.
Oh,
You used to watch cartoons.
But I was more Nickelodeon.
Yeah?
For sure, yeah.
Well, you probably wouldn't. You may have seen it once, but it was like a one-time thing, and it didn't catch on like SpongeBob.
Oh, okay.
So So sure enough, like a couple weeks later, they're like, yeah, it got rebought, like it's really popular, and I was able to see it on Saturday mornings and the whole thing. Like, I don't remember when it was rebought for the year. I don't remember the exact timing, but my wife and I were at a water park, and we were like sitting next to this slide that is like really high that goes like this, and people are just down the slide.
The fast one.
The fast one, and they're like, water's going everywhere and everything. And we're sitting there with our towels, and I keep turning around like this. And she's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I know you're going to think I'm crazy. I swear you're going to think I'm crazy. But I hear my cymbals. I'm like, I hear the way that I would play. And she's like, what are you you're out of your friggin' mind, So, like, I go in my towel, and I walk over, and this ride is, like, blasting the SpongeBob theme.
Oh, amazing.
Right?
That's so cool.
And,
I was just like...
I know.
Didn't even have words.
Because I didn't really know how like popular it was going to be, and when I went over there and I saw it, I saw all this merchandise. I saw towels. I saw like all this. I'm like, whoa, like what, and then you can't see it. It's down my list over that way.
Okay.
You can't see it really.
Okay.
Good. But I had this CD that was called SpongeBob's Greatest Hits or something, and it was like after like a couple weeks, it was like the most popular selling CD in the world, like the kids CD in the world.
Oh my
wow,
god!
That is so cool.
And she is such a
I'm
I remember even like only 2-3 years ago, she got like these figurines from her dad, SpongeBob.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
But because they're like, I don't know, I never saw SpongeBob, I guess, in Mexico.
It was also like later.
Yeah. But I did know, of course, but I'm for you guys, that was like the thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that is so cool that you were able to like land that gig and that it turned out so well for you.
Yes.
That
and
is
then
awesome.
that story that you were like, wait a minute, that sounds like me. That's so cool.
And so I guess that's how you got into, because you mentioned Sprint and you've done other like TV work, levels.
Yep.
Other, so is that how you kind of got into that world? As
well,
when you were.
Yeah, like the commercials and the multimedia stuff I was already doing, and it's funny because SpongeBob was just another one of them. It was just like, like the next week I got called for like a McDonald's thing. You get called for like, it's and it's just one of those things. But none of us were prepared of how big it got. You know.
Right.
And I can get into the lack of money I got for it, but that's a whole other thing.
I wasn't even gonna go there, for you and for But you've also done a lot of work on Broadway, right? You've worked in Rock of Ages, Kinky Boots, Little Shop of Horrors. How do you mentally shift from doing Broadway to prog rock or tribute acts that you've been in? How is that for you?
Yeah, that's that's the challenge as a musician. That kind of goes back to a little bit of my history of becoming a musician. When I was younger, my parents were always incredibly supportive, but my dad was a Wall Street guy. His brother and his father were Wall Street guys. We had lawyers, we had doctors in the family. Everybody played a little bit of music. My dad played a little bass and that sort of thing. But this is like a mistake. I don't know how this happened.
Great.
This is also a mistake.
No.
Actually, we'll talk about that maybe off camera. But yes, I was an oops. But we'll talk about that later. Yeah. Anyway, I was the best oops ever.
Of course.
I love it.
So so I knew early on that first of all, this is really all I knew. I started young. Started on piano when I was 9. Started at 11 on drums, and did the whole school thing and marching band and lessons and really wanting to do it the right way. But I always knew early on that I wasn't going to get any help in the industry. I knew no one. I'm only 30 minutes from New York City. You'd expect that I'd know a lot of people. I knew no one in the industry.
Wow.
No one. And I was like, I really got to kind of arm myself with a lot of weapons. And my parents would always say, like, have a backup plan. And I misread that for a while. The way I was misreading it was like, well, do they want me to like learn music and also be an astronaut or something? Something crazy.
Yes.
Insinuating that maybe the musician wouldn't work out. You say they were talking about like have several musical avenues.
That's I was coming from that side of things. They may have been coming from get your law degree at the same time.
Right.
Where I was like coming from, well, you know what? Let me do this in a different way. Let me try to get as wide scoped as I can.
Smart.
So my 2 degrees are actually in orchestral classical music, so that in case I had to try out for a symphony,
Okay.
or compose or do all that kind of stuff, hence my composing with Joe and that sort of thing. I have a minor in jazz.
Yep.
I went out and I studied every single style and read the history of every style.
Wow.
So, so I'm very versed in like Afro-Cuban rhythms and Brazilian rhythms and world rhythms and all that kind of stuff. Okay, long story short, that kind of brings us to where we are now with the fact that between all of that and teaching too, and all the people that I've taught forever, has enabled me to like have the power to turn that light switch on and off
Right.
in my head.
Okay.
Whether it's a reading thing like on Broadway, or whether it's I'm charting out stuff on my right here, or trying out for a band, or whatever it might be, and it's a lot of pre-preparation. It's a lot of building your foundation and being ready for anything and everything that comes along, because also like Broadway is a very thankless job. There's no auditions. It's not you get, if somebody trusts you, they'll be like, you think you could sub? Yes. Here's the book, learn it. Your show's on Tuesday. Yeah.
Wow.
No rehearsals.
Stress.
It's unbelievable stress,
And it's live.
But I mean, the good thing is your capabilities. I mean, I can only imagine to be able to play all this and what the music you're talking about, like these, just the Afro rhythms and Latino music and all that. It's super complex.
Oh, yeah.
Just if you listen to it. And I don't really know. I mean, I kind of know how to count, but not like a drummer who is like, that's what you guys do, right?
Yeah. It's just like I said, it's arming yourself with a lot of different weapons. Drummers nowadays get the reputation of, we always talk that, how do you know drummers walking behind you? You hear his knuckles scraping on the sidewalk, they get the reputation of being like the dumbest idiots, And I really made it, an effort for my whole life to do as much background and research and reading as I possibly can. And I actually am too overworked now, to be honest with you.
That's good. That's awesome.
Wow, that's a good. I mean, it's a lot.
Not great
of
for my
stress.
health. Yeah.
This is true.
But I mean, that's so cool.
But,
I'm so happy that you can say this in today's like musical climate.
Yes.
Where you got all this like crazy music and everything is kind of electronic, and they don't really use drummers at all. That's a great thing to hear. That you're like, I'm busy. I'm really busy. You know? That's good to
Nick,
hear.
the other thing, and this is, if I had one, I don't want to say regret, because I don't have a lot of regrets, but if there's one thing I'd go back and do more, it would be the technology thing.
Okay.
I'm pretty good. I have my own little studio here that I record, all the stuff that I've been recording at. I just did a track for Robin Zander from Cheap Trick. I was on a Candlebox track recently. And I literally did it, I swear, in my underwear at my computer.
That's what you do. I mean, that's how I practice.
It's awesome. But that's the one thing. When I was sophomore in college, was the first time they introduced MIDI to us. Do you know what MIDI is? MIDI recording? And it was the original software was Cakewalk. I don't know if you ever heard of Cakewalk.
Yes, I do remember.
Like way back, like before Cubase, before And so I, being a keyboardist, also I was able to like really get into the MIDI thing and learn how to compose on MIDI, which has really served me well today. But the one thing I really missed out on was, and this was before digital interfaces and software, I missed out on being behind the board, being behind like an analog board, right? And I love analog. I love recording to tape. I love the fatness of it. I love the sound. But if you asked me to work with like a Logic or Pro Tools now, I can do it. I have no problem. If you asked me to set up a studio with like chords, like bussing this track to this track, and I'd have no idea what to do.
No, it's like
it's a whole world.
It's a whole world
for sure.
Yeah. So that's the one thing I'd say that I didn't do enough of. It's hard when you're a musician. You're very biased in regard to like, well, I want music to go this way, or this is what I think music's going to do. And I was really blindsided by the fact that I didn't know it was going to go as deep into, as far as replacing drummers and stuff. It's deep into the electronica as it did, and unfortunately, I don't like a lot of that stuff. So you have to kind of love what you do in order to like want to produce a hip hop track or a drum and bass track or something.
Right.
If you don't, I don't. It's not that I don't like it. I don't really specialize in it, so I don't want to fake it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
We just watched. So we're huge, as you may have seen or known, Steely Dan fans. We became huge Steely Dan fans through the channel, which you've also been in a Steely Dan tribute
you would
band.
love to see that band. You would love to see it. Yeah,
I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah.
And we watched a short little, very well put together YouTube video, 15 minutes or so, speaking of Gaucho, and they talked about, the perfectionist that both Fagan and Becker were, and how who was the drummer that like recorded and then they ended up just using this crazy recording.
I don't remember the name of that particular track.
Jeff from Toto, Jeff Picaro?
I don't know,
I'm pretty sure it was Picaro.
It's super, I think, but that was such a cool documentary that he put together, but they ended up using a drum machine.
Yeah.
Which is insane. But just to program, like, I think one note would take 20 minutes of code.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's insane. And then I don't know why Fagan, I think with Fagan, would
because
go
he
for
wanted
that.
it just perfectly, and then the drummer, which I'll think about, played on top of
but
that.
you can, every time I listen to Glamour Profession, I was like, I wish there was an actual human person playing that song, because you notice that it's
too
but
perfect.
at the time, in the 80s, people were just like, wow, you can't beat a drum machine.
Yeah.
Now there's even features where you put on the drum machine more human-like,
right?
more,
so
because a human doesn't play like a robot.
They called it, for a while they were calling it a humanizer, where they would they would quantize it and then just knock them off a little bit.
A little bit. Because I mean, that's what I guess music is all about. Body and life,
and putting your own,
and there are mistakes, and that's what makes it beautiful. You're not
sometimes a mistake is something
not like a bum note, but just like that little,
Yeah.
So what is the name of that? Do you still play with that Steely Dan tribute band, or?
Yeah. One thing that I'm going through right now is that because I'm playing with so many different acts, I'm mostly not the main drummer in a lot of these acts. Like I'm the sub or second guy or whatever, because everybody's doing the same thing. This guy that's got the chair, he's playing Broadway and he's playing this, he's playing that. So when he goes out, I go in, and then when I go out, someone comes in. It's a big weird, incestuous thing. So that's a band called the Royal Scam, or just Royal Scam. Okay. Made up of all like incredibly great New York players. The rhythm section was the old Blood, Sweat, and Tears rhythm section. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Really great rhythm section, and everybody's got the horn sections. They got incredible credits, Broadway, and all these horn bands, stuff like that. So, incredible band, incredible.
Man.
Yeah,
we would love to see that.
Yeah,
for sure.
There's one here in Denver called what are they called?
Citizen
Dan.
Oh, cool.
And we saw them, and then the keyboardist, wasn't he also watching the show?
Yes, he recognized us when we were in the audience.
Yeah, because we were the only ones who knew the words. And then the guy, the singer, was like, "Hey, I like your parents. They raised you well." Because we were like the only, it was like 4 people. Another couple that we got them into Steely Dan, like hardcore. So all 4 of us were singing along the songs. And then there was this one part where he says, "So now we're gonna play like this reggae song," and we're like, "Haitian divorce." We knew like everything.
They're like, "Get out! You're ruining the show. You're wasting it."
It was so funny, but it was really cool. And we saw them again the second time.
We're actually I talked to Jim, and he's got tickets for us to go at the end of May.
Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah, so that is so cool. And do you feel like being a musical chameleon, is there one specific place where you feel you fit in more than others? Is there one thing that you enjoy doing more than others, where you feel like, if I could do this full time, I would just do this? Or do you enjoy being...
The good news is that I'm really comfortable doing as much as I possibly can. Like when I did La Voz, I love playing Afro-Cuban. It was like awesome. But I'm a progressive rock guy. I mean,
That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, You know, my three like favorite bands are, you know, Rush, Yes, and Kansas.
Amazing.
And now I'm playing part-time for Kansas, you know, it's like crazy. Yeah,
that is awesome. That's
I was
so
actually gonna like jump a little bit
Yes,
because I know
let's go.
she's doing the questions.
no,
and
Yeah,
I know
please
it's
do.
Amazing. But I just wanted to go back to more to your genesis, to your when you started playing. What were you influenced by? Like at first, before you knew maybe how to read classical music, or when you just like got that, you know, what was going on at home? Was your dad listening to blues or jazz or rock, or what were you influenced by?
Yeah, great question. My parents were awesome with music growing up. Awesome. Like, they were big fans of, well, first of all, like I said, my dad was a bass player. So he grew up with, like, all the classic rock. I mean, he was a diehard Beatles fan.
Okay.
Kinks fan, Eagles fan,
Okay.
you know, that kind of stuff. They both loved Motown, so I got into a lot of Motown earlier. I love Smokey Robinson and Temptations and,
Awesome.
you know, yeah, those bands. Like, I you know, that's like in my heart, all that stuff. One of my best friends was a huge Kiss fan growing up. My generation, I'm older than you guys, but my generation had just this real soft spot for Kiss. And I got to see them. I was 7 years old in 1979, and I got to see them like at Madison Square Garden as a 7-year-old kid.
Whoa.
And yeah, it's like awesome. Yeah.
It's almost like watching like superheroes. I mean, at 7, imagine and
at
playing that
Madison.
music in Madison Square Garden. I mean, that's already mind blowing. But to see them in their makeup,
Yes.
and you know,
At
it
that
must have been
age.
insane. Like.
My lasting vision of that, and you can see it online because they have the whole concert online, is Ace's guitar going on fire and going across the stage, and it sits with me. I'm still like, oh my, but as a kid, you're kind of like scared of that in a way. You're like, oh, what is it, you know? So
And then the bass player spitting
blood, and
and his tongue is like. It was just genius. I mean, it was really different, you know. I mean, I've seen Kiss. I'm not like particularly like super a fan because it's just like not my. Maybe I haven't heard
We
enough.
haven't, yeah.
But it has happened to me that I listen to something now and I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
so good. You know,
Yeah.
like with the Doors.
And Santana.
Santana, I thought, well, Santana is a nice, you know, classic, you know, fusion guy, but I would compare him to like Aldi Meola and stuff. But now
Sure.
I listen to him and I'm like, oh my god, you know, that guy actually came up with
Yes,
that whole stuff.
yes.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I can only imagine Kiss. But I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No,
I
not at
always
all.
do that.
No, please, look, conversation, right? It's not just about me. So, but yeah, like it was like, you know, such an amazing experience, and you know, I wasn't playing music yet. You know what I mean? I certainly wasn't playing drums. I was tiddling around a little bit on piano, but I wasn't playing drums. So I didn't really know like the theory behind it. I didn't really know what I was listening to. They weren't really my favorite band in the world. I just knew I liked them. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I was like, okay, I'm a Kiss fan, and my friend would like have the Kiss dolls and everything. Like it was like a whole thing, it was a whole marketing thing, you know.
Yeah.
And then I had a neighbor that played me Signals by Rush.
Oof.
And Tom Sawyer was always on the radio, and it kind of sort of passed me by a little bit. I was like, yeah, I remember that song. And they played me Subdivisions, and I was like, I don't even know how to make sense of this. This is the most incredible thing I've ever heard. And then my dad had like Left Overture by Kansas and Fragile by Yes, and I started listening to these going, I really do think this is what I like. And it's so funny because I'm not like a prog rock nut in the way of like it needs to be like a million parts and a million, like I like writing like that. I mean, you've heard
Right.
Stratus
Yeah,
Furious stuff.
yes.
I like writing like that, but I love melodies and I love like songwriting and I love the depth of that stuff. You know what I mean? And the textures and the orchestration and stuff. So when I started hearing bands that had like orchestra in it and all that kind of stuff, that's really what like got me like, okay, this is the stuff I like. And then years later, I end up playing with TSO and I end up playing
Yes.
with Mark Wood and all this stuff with the strings and the rock. So it's kind of come around full circle.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And we were asking also Joe about Kansas. By the way, did you see our Kansas
I
record?
literally
Just
literally
flipped
just
over.
saw that.
It's
the
like a
second.
sign. It's like, hey, you're
So
talking.
normally right there.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Where Jimi Hendrix's
Yeah.
head is. That's,
Right.
That's Left Overtures,
it's
and I
like
was like
flipped.
wanting to look at Left Overtures. I was like, oh, what happened? It
Yeah,
fell on
it's gone.
That's funny.
Yeah. I did
It's
the
a
exact
sign.
same thing. As
It's
soon
a
as he
sign.
said that, I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, oh, Jimmy. Yeah, so that is so cool that you, first of all, had the support from your parents.
Yeah.
You know, you had a great baseline, and then you kind of went your own way. And it's no surprise that Rush would lead you to.
Yeah.
I told Alexia we have to ask him about Neil Peart. We have to.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's in your question.
Yeah. Like,
is?
was he one of your influences?
I mean,
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's an interesting thing as you sort of start to mature as a musician, because sometimes the more you know about music, the more it does change the narrative a little bit of who you've gotten into. Like Kiss, using Kiss an example. Like, I love Kiss, and I still love a lot of the stuff that they do, but when I look back now and I hear the harmonic structure of songs and the chord structure they use, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I get why people don't like them, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of the same and boring. It's about sex and all that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And Neil is that in a little way. Like, for like a 5-year period, he was everything to me. You know, I know every single note of every single song of Rush from start to end. But then as it went on a little bit, I started getting into like the drummers of Zappa and jazz fusion stuff and Dave Weckl and Vinnie Colaiuta and Dennis Chambers and all these guys.
We were going to ask you about
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you about the but of course.
You know, those guys are like, then you go, okay, all right, there's this sort of like divide where Neil to me is one of the best part writers and certainly the best lyricists of all time. And
Yes.
Rush will always be my favorite band. But when you start to like, you know, work up your technique and work on better things on your instrument, you have to start getting into guys that are real like technique masters.
Yes.
And as much as Neil did things that were way out of its time, it was much more in the sort of a songwriting vein than it was in the technical aspect of the instrument.
Yes.
And that's
Right.
where I started turning to some of those other guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you mentioned Dave Weckl. We saw him with Oz Noy.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm a huge fan of like Chad Wackerman, of course, and you know those guys. And it's just like so different. And a lot of people, you know, even on the channel, we try to play like other music, more complex, and they just don't go there because they're not musicians.
Yeah.
So maybe they're like, that is a little bit too complex, or like, I don't know if you know Bobby Jarzombek.
Of course.
He's super crazy. Like, see,
He's one of my good friends, actually.
oh my God! See, so that's like the stuff that even as a listener, but also as a musician, it's just like stuff that you get into, and some
and then
people
you can't go back. Is what you were saying,
it's like
right?
sometimes I tell Alexia, why didn't I just like play like 3 chords, you know, on acoustic? Why do I get into?
Why didn't I
stuff?
play flute? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
because you get into like first it was Iron Maiden and Metallica, then it's Steve Vai, Yngwie Malmsteen, and then you get into like Alan Holdsworth or that kind of like crazy Guthrie Govan kind of style, and you hit a wall suddenly. You know, you have to study so much to get to that level, or just to kind of like be able to write like that. You know.
You know, Nick, I think some of it, and I hate to say it, but some of it's about age too. You know, I like when I was a sponge from 18 to 40-ish. A sponge. You know, I would learn everything, I'd play everything, I'd do everything. As I've gotten older, I'm having a hard time breaking through that wall.
Yeah.
And it's a combination of a lot of things. It's a physical thing, it's a mental thing, it's an ear thing. There are things that guys do nowadays, like this whole like I'm a huge Meshuggah fan, but a lot of the stuff that Meshuggah and Animals as Leaders and these guys do, I go, I don't even know if I would have the not the ability, that's not the right word, but like the mindset to write this.
Yes.
Like, what's the younger generation hearing that I'm not hearing?
Yeah, how did they come up with that? So I saw this video on YouTube. I think it wasn't it Jordan Rudess? They played in Meshuggah. Oh,
no,
was it?
Animals as Leaders.
Animals as
Leaders.
Leaders. And he was like, "What is this?" Okay.
Yeah.
A 3-minute long prog song. Okay, let's try it out. I mean,
love that
obviously he
video.
did amazing, but
Right.
it was kind of bizarre to him.
Yeah.
And even when Mike Portnoy was like, "Okay, here's Tool, like play," and he's like, "That's not fair, man. Like, like I have to like figure this out, you know."
Yeah.
But also, I mean, Danny Carey it's an older generation of a band, but they just come up with this crazy style. You know,
Yeah.
so, but I mean, I think the bands that you're talking about is like Polyphia, and I just don't get it. You know, I don't.
There's a
get
lot
it.
of stuff that I don't get of that too. Some of it is also that it's instrumental. And there's only so much I have in my brain for instrumental. Like I need some lyrics. And in fact, funny as you mentioned, I've actually commented on a couple of your videos a few times. Like, hey guys, go back and listen to the lyrics of the song.
Oh, I know. And
We're so bad. We're so bad.
We've actually been able to now incorporate.
Now we can
more
do it.
lyrics.
It was
But
just
before it was just like we were so overwhelmed, especially with Rush, like everything that's happening, and then I still have to go into like the spiritual place and like really like I can't.
Yeah, because we got so much flack because we heard like a sector.
Red Sector A. I was gonna say that. Yeah, and you guys were like, "Oh, this is great." I'm like, "No, it's about the Holocaust." Oh my god.
Yeah, we're like,
we learned our lesson
because
there.
it sounds obviously very upbeat, and you know, it's like, but the lyrics are dark.
Absolutely.
Dark.
Yeah.
So
we learned our lesson.
I think with that song we learned a lesson, and it happened again with Luca.
Oh,
the abuse song. Yeah.
And we were like, oh my god, it's such a beautiful song. And now, like, we have the lyrics on the side, you know, pulled up just in case, you know.
Yeah. There's a band. I think you guys have done "Pain of Salvation" a little bit.
Oh,
I think I've done some.
Yeah. There's a song called "Trace of Blood" off of the song. I think you did "Beyond the Pale" or something off of one of those songs. And there's a song called "Trace of Blood" that is like bananas as far as the playing, and it's about, and is the most poignant, like literally like tear exploding song about Daniel Gildenlow losing their child.
Oh god.
And it's about, you know, like was it an abortion or no, the stillborn. Yeah. And I saw a review, somebody else did it, and you know, they're like watching it and you know, going like this, and then all of a sudden the girl goes, and then she starts crying, and then by the end of the song she grabs her kid and she's like holding onto her kid, like shaking, you know. Yeah, so you have to, you know, it's weird with the review thing because a lot of times the songs don't. But here's the thing, even though the songs don't necessarily match the lyrics, once you get into the lyrics, it makes the song that much better.
Yes,
I know.
Yes,
that
this
is
is
so
true.
true.
Yeah.
This is true. But it has happened even on Red Sector 8. Some people have been like, hey guys, because we posted like a apology comment and everything, you know, please bear
because we did feel like
and
crap.
Some people even answered, hey, I've been listening to this song for 10 years and it took me that long to know that that's what, like, don't feel bad, you know, you're not the only one. So sometimes people like that we don't get into it, because then it's really like when you listen to a song on the radio for the first time, it's not the same as listening to the song with the liner notes and reading everything.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's also a thing we talked about with Joe, that kind of like, that's gone now for like younger kids.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have the experience of buying first of all, going into the shop and smelling the records, the, you know, the plastic, almost like, I don't know. And then going through the CDs, that was such a rush.
Yeah.
Right? And then finding your CD, oh my god, or LP, whatever it was. And then, you know, going home at that ride home, that was like, your heart was beating, and then you would put on the CD, and then going through the booklet. That's just something that will never live, ever.
I know.
That's insane, you know?
But we are happy, and now kind of talking about Stratus Furious, the band that you and Joe are in. So you are still selling CDs, and we love
Thankfully,
that. Congrats on, by the way,
Yes.
almost selling out on your first print of the CD, and we hear you're ordering more of those. So what Joe told us that you guys basically finish each other's musical sentences is what he said. Quote, how is it composing for you as a drummer? I've always been curious, when you compose something in your instrument, in your case a drummer, do you also think about, the guitar should be doing this at that moment? Or I've always wondered that. Or do you just come up with the drum part and say, here, guitar player, do whatever you want?
I can't tell you, or I'd have to kill you. No.
Take your clothes off. Just kidding.
So to answer your question, I have a pretty short answer to your question on that. Is that I don't compose on the drums. I compose on keyboard. So I never. I mean, when I get a song and I, you know, write something, or a lot of times when Joe writes something or somebody else writes something that I'm playing for, I will sit down on the drums and say, okay, does this groove need to be just sort of a straight thing, or can it be more broken up? And you have to be very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Honest to the type of music too. You know, if it's something that like I just did the song with Robin Zander from Cheap Trick, and it's it's like a 80s power rock song.
Okay.
So I'm not going to be doing like, you know, double bass and all this crap over the top of it. Yeah. You know, it wouldn't make sense. But if I get something that is rhythmically challenging or is in the vein of a progressive rock or a metal or something, yeah, I'm going to break up what I'm doing. I'm going to play some cool things. You know what I mean? So it starts, at least from the drums, it starts from being realistic about where your foundation is to start with.
Right.
But 9 times out of 10, I'm upstairs on my keyboard on my MIDI setup, and I'm doing it that way.
Wow.
So you're doing like chord progressions, like actual chord and melody.
Yeah.
That's insane. I did not know that.
Yeah, because I always wondered, where does it start? You know, or does a guitar player, when they're the composer of an album or of their band, you know, as it happened a lot, or a bass player, do they just think about their bass line and then, but it makes sense that they wouldn't. It makes sense that you would think about kind of the whole song.
But it also sometimes, I guess, as Jason knows, like sometimes you start with the lyrics. Or sometimes you just start with some chord progressions or like a melody, you know, because I'm a huge fan, and I'm sure you know this man, Virgil Donati from Planet X, and he basically, so I'm like, I would love to put some Planet X on the channel, but I'm scared that he might like give me
given us a
because I got a copyright straight from him, and so I was like, maybe I should ask, and I actually wrote him, but he hasn't answered. But it says all songs composed by Virgil Donati, and I was like, all this like
He's
Brett
a piano player.
Garcett's,
He's a piano player. Yeah.
There we go. That's it.
He's a good piano player.
Wow,
Yeah.
I did not know that. So that's why, because I was like, there's some amazing solos on there. Brett Garcett, you know, and Tony McAlpine, and I wanted to show it to Alexa, but I was like, I don't want it to get blocked, or I don't want to copyright strike. So I wrote to him, so let's see what he says.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, they haven't found the route that I did of realizing that reaction videos are a new form of marketing and stuff.
Yeah,
you know.
Exactly.
So
That's what we always
So stick
say.
with it.
Like, we promise we're not making money. You know, it's just a way that actually by us uploading the song, the person who has a copyright claim makes the money off of that song.
Yes.
But by allowing us to keep it up, we're benefiting, you know, the band and other people discovering. We love in the comments when people tell us, thanks guys, I just discovered this band because you just bought the album.
Yeah.
I love that. That makes me so happy. Because
Yes, and a shout out again. I want to give it a shout out to Eric Meredith,
our friend
and
Eric.
he requested us to do Stratus Furious and also District 97 and stuff like that. So. And that's what I love when people are like, oh, I just bought the CD. Thank you guys. I did not know this band, you know. And we got also the CD from him, even though it was not the CD, it was digital. But hey, that is amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, don't feel so bad, honestly, because I've had a lot of stuff that I've written that I put on YouTube, and it says your video's blocked in certain countries, and I'm like,
wow.
It's my stuff. Like, what the hell?
Insane.
You know?
I know, that's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's
They just
YouTube.
have to. They have to just be really protective of stuff. you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think who told us that was that Scott and Mike, that basically a song has 3 kind of like layers of copyright. It's the melody.
Oh yeah.
Because the melody can be recognized. Then it's the actual recording, and then if there's video, of course, the videos also has. So it's 3 copyright claims on a song, which is, I guess, I understand, and I want the band to make the money. You
Absolutely.
know?
Yeah, you just don't really know where it's coming from. Like when that stuff happens, you could sit there and like protest it, and then it's by the time it's protesting, your social media post is gone, and it is ridiculous. You know?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
you know.
But yeah. Just
go
to remind people to go to find Impostor album, they can go to stratosband, right? .com.
Stratus, yeah.
And also Bandcamp, and follow you guys on the social medias. And I saw you also, Jason, on your YouTube channel.
Please subscribe to Jason, guys. Come on.
Yes. And I saw you doing, obviously now we would love to talk about you subbing for Mike Portnoy on the Neal Morse band. That is no small task, okay? Because a lot of people, you know that Mike is one of the huge drummers.
Well, he's like in a very, very popular band. I would say Jason plays exactly as good as Mike.
Right.
Because if you're a drummer, you know you hear, you know, because I mean, Mike Portnoy is very, very obviously fortunate to be in this very famous band and that band, but I think that Jason has
of course
the capability to play everything.
That's what I'm saying. Like, to be able to sub for Mike Portnoy is, for any drummer and for anyone who knows Dream Theater and what he's done, is no small task. So what was that experience like, subbing for him?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, this came from sort of two foundations. One was Images and Words changed my life when it came out. I was young enough to hear it when, actually, being from the East Coast, I heard their first record.
Ooh.
I heard When
With
Dreams
the
Unite.
other singer,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
When Dreams Unite.
I didn't really hear it. I heard of it, and people were like, "Hey, you need to check out this band. If you're a Rush fan, you need to check out this band." And I have a funny story about that. So Pull Me Under comes on the radio. It's like the summer of '92 or '91. I'm working as a stock boy in Bloomingdale's in the mall.
Love it.
And I'm folding shirts in the back, right? And Pull Me Under comes on, and by the time it was over, I had folded the same shirt 30 times. And I was like staring out, I'm like, who is this? Yeah, this must be Dream Theater. And they sure enough was. Anyway, so Images and Words really changed my life as far as, you know, like the way that I looked at playing and all that kind of stuff. And then in '95, when I moved out to California, my friend was on a progressive rock fan. Like we would get this was before the internet, just as the internet was coming out. So we get these things in the mail that would have CDs that would describe what the CDs sounded like. You know, so there would be like he bought a bunch of CDs. Oh, you know, this band from Germany, yeah, they sound like Dream Theater, and we'd buy it and be like, not really, it just blows, you know. But there was this one CD that came out, and he's like, you have got to hear this. It's called The Light by Spockspirit. It's their first record.
Spockspirit.
And I was like, I don't even know who they are, and I heard it and went ballistic, because I'm a little bit more on the prog rock side of things than the prog metal side of things. I do love a lot of prog metal, but when it comes to prog rock, like your Yeses and your Kansas, that's more my thing.
Okay.
You know? And Spock's, Neal Morse's stuff was just like, look, that's everything I want to hear, you know? So I started getting into them and blah, 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 blah. Years later, when Neal left Spock's and started his own project with Mike playing, they released Testimony 1 and a couple other CDs, and I think I heard like a couple things, and I'm not very religious, so I just wasn't driven to get into it, because it was it had that religious slant. Which, by the way, I started reading the lyrics years later and went, okay, this is much more life generalization than you know.
Yeah,
that kind of
it
thing.
wasn't like Stryper. Remember Stryper?
Yeah.
They were literally like
full
about
blown.
God.
Yeah. I mean, some of Neal's stuff is, but some of it's not. So, like I don't know, Nick, if either one of you have heard Sola Scriptura by Neal Morse. I need to. When we're done, we'll talk a little bit, and I'll send you some stuff.
Yes.
You gotta hear
Give us
that.
a list. Give us a list.
Gotta hear that. You're gonna freak when you hear a song called "The Door." You're gonna freak.
Okay. Yeah, because actually, I was gonna just interject and say we haven't really done
too much
Spock's Beard, Neal Morse. You know,
Transatlantic.
We know it's there, but we just have so many other doors that we've gone down.
That deep dive, and then also it's so funny, and I didn't want to interrupt, but as a reaction channel, you kind of like pull back.
Yes.
Because usually I would just go full blown.
Right.
I would dive in, you know, I would listen to everything by Stratus Furious, but I do want to have that. I want my reaction to be authentic.
Sure.
You know?
So
that's why when you kind of like pull in the brakes, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Because it took us like 3 years to listen to the Steely Dan catalog. That was a long time.
Yeah.
You know, it's like not fun, because you're like, I want more.
Yeah.
Well, what I'll do is I'll give you guys a list, and I'll say these are the songs that really inspire me. You can listen to them on your own, and then if you feel it's right for the channel, you can put it up on the channel.
And do like a second listen.
Yes, we always say when it's like our second or third or 100th time, because we've done Dark Side of the Moon, and we've like obviously listened to this album.
But it's still fun
it's
to
still
share.
fun to kind of like zone in like everything and listen to with headphones and, you know.
Of course, Anyway, so Neal started, when he started his solo project, or maybe it was before, he started something called the Inner Circle, and you know, it was a little on the religious side of things. He headed up a church too, so it was sort of a little bit of that mixed with his music fans. And he put a message out, and the same friend that told me about the CD comparisons, the sheets that he was getting,
Yeah.
Forwarded me this email and said, listen, I want to let you know that he is trying to form his own United States band, and he's holding auditions.
Ooh.
I was like, oh, okay. The one caveat was that if you get the position as drummer, you would be you'd be Mike's sub. Mike would, do the main thing, I was like, hey, still cool enough, So I sent my stuff in. He loved it. He flew me down there, and it was between me and 2 other guys, and then I ended up getting the gig. Yay! And it was right at the time, it benefited me because right at the time that Mike went off and did the Avenged Sevenfold and Adrenaline Mob thing. So I ended up doing a full blown out tour with them around this area of the United States, and then we went to Italy, went to Finland, did a couple things together. And then Mike left those projects and then was like, look, this, I really want to kind of get back into making that my main thing. And I'm like, hey, dude, it's your gig. It's totally cool. You know?
Yeah.
It's tricky. It's the same thing with Kansas, subbing for Kansas is like, when you have the carrot waved in front of your face in this business, it is so beautiful when you get it, but when it's not the full-time carrot, it's tough to kind of just go like, and that's why you try to stay busy with other things. You know what I mean? Yeah. You try to find the love in the other styles and the other projects and the Broadway and the teaching and the this and that and the other thing. Like I'm on the road almost every week with like a different project, and they're all great. But I think Lex, you were saying before about, what would your wish be? Really, it would be to be in that one band.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So versus moving around, you would like that sense of stability and having the one. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was thinking of, were you ever into Iron Maiden, Jason? I was like, are you seriously? Because I mean, Nico McBrain, he just kind of like said, well, I guess I'm kind of done touring. But I mean, imagine like 40, 50 years Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
That's insane. And I mean, obviously for you, Iron Maiden must be like, you could play that in your sleep, but it's still, I mean, I don't know. It's such a good band. I mean, I guess they're really special, don't you think?
Oh my God, so special. They to me, they kind of that whole second wave of British heavy metal that came out in the late '70s, early '80s, really kind of set up a lot of the stuff that we listen to, like that harmonized guitar stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like Thin Lizzy and Maiden and Judas Priest. It really kind of set the ground base for stuff that came later.
Yes.
And like I listen to Maiden and I go, oh yeah, I can totally hear Dream Theater doing that riff. Or something like that.
That's what I like about sometimes Dream Theater even nods their heads to like, they play the Trooper or they play some, I don't know, some
Rush,
Metallica.
Right? They did this whole, what's it called, the potpourri or whatever of like
medley.
Yeah, the medley.
Well, they did a big medley. I think it was Queen, Led Zeppelin,
that's the one.
Iron Maiden, and I don't know. I think In the Flesh by Pink Floyd.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
But they did like this really cool on that CD called the one with the kid in the sand.
Change of Seasons.
Change of Seasons.
I
remember showing her that on the channel, and I was like so happy at the end after like 27 minutes that she had made it through, because I remember the first time on the channel. If you want to watch this, Jason, so I played her what is it called? That.
Yeah, I know. The Erotomania.
Erotomania.
Oh yeah, Erotomania.
Erotomania, and then she's like at the end, well, it was a little busy, and I'm like, and I'm like, okay, that's fair enough. That was her first Dream Theater song ever. She made it.
But I was happy. I always mention this at any chance I get, and then I get shat on for it. But anyway, I can't stand James LaBrie, and he knew that, so that's why he would show me instrumental.
It's
Dream Theater.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why. Like, why don't you like James?
I don't know. I just, and especially after listening to so many other prog bands that have a good voice, it's like, if only.
But I think I have a theory, Jason.
I don't know.
I think I have a theory. I think they wanted to have somebody sound a little bit like Geddy, but not as high. And I mean, on Images and Words, Jason sounds
James.
James,
I wish I was on it.
yeah. No, but James sounds very, very
James
good.
is amazing on that record.
Yes,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's also
yeah.
like an acquired taste. Every Dream Theater fan knows this, and you just haven't heard the right
and
song.
even when we saw them live recently, it was amazing.
Oh, but that's-
and even there, when it started, funny story, because like
She was crying.
I was out getting drinks and something, and I told Nick, go up with our friend and find the seats, and I'll find you guys. And then I had like the drinks and my tacos and everything, my beer and my tacos, and then it started, and I was like, oh fuck, like okay, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm at. And I'm like, wah! And I just started like bawling all by myself because like I couldn't believe that we were there. And even James was like, he sounded so bad, but I was just so happy to be there, you know.
But was it because it was Mike coming back, or
that had a lot to do with it? You know, that it was actually Mike Portnoy, and
she's a fan
Jordan Rudess there and his freaking keyboard like craziness.
It's amazing.
That is so cool that you can see basically what he's playing with on this like.
He had like an
screen.
LED screen.
Oh yeah, right.
He is insane, like, but really creative, and I love that he learned how to play guitar at 68.
Yeah.
It's like this
Insane.
guy's like he's
I love
like
him.
It's not it's like I'm not on that planet. You know, they're honestly, in the music business, we say there are some people that have a lot of gifts, and there are some people that have all the gifts.
Right?
You
Isn't
know,
that crazy?
and he's got all the gifts.
Yeah, he's like a wizard. He's literally like a wizard.
Yeah.
With the beard. I love that beard. But what else were we talking about? So, yeah, James, you have to listen to the early stuff. And also, look, he has been busting his, his ass on stage for 40 years. It's gonna stop sounding the same.
Well, he had a very serious injury, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I love James. I'm sorry.
Me too. I do too. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, well, you can leave the interview now.
Yeah. Why are you even here? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day, because even our friend who's a big Dream Theater fan, he's like, I know how you feel. Like, it took me a while. Just
it's an acquired
hang in
taste.
there, you know.
It's
but some people, like him from the start.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
It's because I also heard Images and Words first, and I know just the journey.
Yeah.
And there's like different paths they took, and I love it all. Even like a lot of people like criticize Falling into Infinity. I love that album. It's more. It's obviously less metal, but it's more like rock. It's more prog rock. You're not a fan?
Not a fan of that one.
I liked it. I think what I like about that, but also they had a lot of pushback to make it that way. That's what I don't.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. Is you have to look at James in a little bit of a different light, and you have to look at him and how much he's been sort of tossed around for years of like producers telling him what to do and trying to sound like this, and then him and Portnoy going at it, and all the changes that he's made and stuff. He's had a difficult role in the band, and he's gotten older. It's been harder to reach, those notes and stuff. One thing I'm going to have you guys, you probably know it, Nick, but Lex, if you haven't sit down and do it. The two of you should definitely sit down together and read the lyrics to the second CD of 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence.
Oh my lord.
Okay.
I love that CD.
But have you listened to the lyrics?
Yes.
Though?
Oh yeah. Dream Theater. I'm a super fan. Yeah.
Nick
I mean, this is I can't get to the end without screaming, crying. It is one of the saddest things I've. It's all about different degrees of mental illness that people experience.
Yes, I played the
where...
Solitary Shell.
Yeah,
that song.
Yeah.
But that's just a little part. It's like one song.
Is that
you have to go from beginning to end? Yes.
Okay.
Let's do that as a full album.
I was bawling.
Yeah.
You have to go.
Okay.
I always cry.
Oh my God.
Always, Jason.
Yeah.
Like it's like heartbreaking.
Yeah,
and also like the struggles of like on the first CD, the class prison and all that stuff. It's
it's a tough CD for sure. I didn't like the first one as much. I like Glass Prison, but the second one, when they start talking about how it, to me, what I'm getting from it, if you put yourself in this position, if you listen to it as somebody, because I've had some issues in my family with this, with people in my family, put it in the position of watching the person you love go through this.
Yes.
And by the end, you're just on the floor.
Yes, and I understand. I worked in criminal justice for 10 years, and I was very in that world of addiction, mental health, and just you know.
Yeah, people. That's the problem, is that they don't get help. They just get judged. You know? And especially like, I don't know. It depends on also the state where you're in, and in this country, for example. But it's like mental health is. I think it's not being taken care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
But I love that you say that, because if you can't relate to it in the way that like I can, for example, or we have people in our family with mental health issues as well, but if you don't, and you just say, okay, what if my daughter, what if my brother, what if my wife, what if my like the person that I love the most, or one of the people, what if it was them? That's such a good way of really helping people get into that situation that maybe they're not familiar with, you know. That's great. We'll definitely have to do that.
I was gonna say, do it as a full album listen.
Okay.
We will. Yeah, we do like full albums on Patreon, so they basically, I mean, they don't get taken down, but if it's King Crimson, unfortunately, he does.
Oh well,
he doesn't like the reaction video, which is okay. He's from a different
tough guy.
type.
Yeah, he's a tough guy to deal with. Yeah. Robert,
have you ever played with him or any interaction?
No, but you know that 7D Records, Stratospheerius' label, is owned by Trey Gunn, who's King Crimson's. You know,
we didn't know.
That's cool. I didn't know that. Okay.
Wow.
So and I know a lot of the guys in the band and stuff. They're so amazing. Yeah. Speaking of full records, have you guys have a chance to listen to the Stratospheerius record through?
Yes, we did.
Oh,
amazing.
Did you enjoy it?
It was so
lyrics.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and then we were talking with Joe about you know, the one with the one we
Storm Surge that has like Rachel Flowers and
Storm Surge. No, but that's, we just showed it to her dad the other day, and he loved it.
That's so sweet.
And we explained also like Rachel Flowers, you know, that she can't see, and like she's like a genius and stuff.
She is
unbelievable.
But the one that we about cancel culture.
Oh yeah,
it's
cognitive. I love that song.
That you guys, you know, go on like.
No, you're talking about Outrage Olympics. Our single.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Like
and I love that you guys talk about these things, because that's what needs to be talked about.
Well, you know, this is a tough call for me, because when I write my lyrics, I didn't write any of the lyrics on this record. I just wrote a lot of music with Joe.
Okay.
Joe is a lot more political than I am. He wears it on his sleeve. I don't.
Right.
If I'm going to write anything about life or politics, I try to sit in the middle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I love Outrage Olympics, and like that whole outro, that big orchestral outro. I wrote that whole thing because I heard it just being this big, like, emotional kind of, you know, like reaction to those lyrics and stuff like that. Yeah.
No, we're the same. Like, we're politically, and I'm from Germany, so I have a very like middle ground. And she was raised part in Mexico and here in the States, so we're very like.
It's
in the
easy
middle.
for us to be in the middle, whereas a lot of
because
people...
here it's like a two-party system, and we kind of understand this and that, and we kind of like try to find the middle ground. That's how I see politics. And yes, Joe, but he was actually like, he's like, I don't want to talk about politics, like, because we asked him, is there anything off limits? Let's not talk politics. And we're like, okay. Which is, you know, my mom, even when I was a kid, she was like, never talk about politics or religion, and you'll be good.
Yeah,
she's right, because you're just gonna get into like some sort of debate with someone because not everybody thinks the same.
You know, it's a tricky situation we're in, because both sides, and we're not here to talk about politics. And like I said, I'm very centered and very fair to both sides, but both sides are sort of pinning you against the other one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And so it's hard not to talk about it, just because it's becoming so magnetic to one side or the other, you know, and it's a really tough time we're living in right now, and it's hard not to write about it, you know.
Yes,
it is, and it even affects, you know, just like movies. Or, you know, like just music or almost everything, books, you know, just media in general is kind of like being affected. And then, you know, one side doesn't like this specific movie because there was something in there that kind of is more political. And even like, I don't know if you're a fan of video games. I love video games because of the music, you know.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not like a gamer, like crazy gamer, but it's gotten really like, it's very real, but it's very time consuming. So it's very bad for a musician. But but it's also, you can also see that shift in video games and just in media in general. So like in movies and shows but it is what it is, you know.
Yeah, I to answer your question, I'm not into video games. I just like when I got into Grand Theft Auto, I'm like, I gotta stop. I'm gonna freaking die, you know. Like,
yeah, because when I said it takes all your time away, it's like, yes, it does.
Oh my God,
it's almost addictive because there's so much stuff to do, but it's like you can't sit there 8 hours playing Grand Theft Auto, but you can also sit there 8 hours and practice, you know, your chops.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I love kids that are actually into like their instruments nowadays, instead of with all the stuff that's out there and Netflix and all these distractions, but they're like centered on their instrument.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah,
Good.
for sure. And the parents that encourage them to do that
yes.
as well.
Kudos to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, with Stratus Furious, what's like kind of your role in shaping the music from a creative standpoint?
I worked with a lot of bands in my history like this, where I always feel like my best role is when somebody comes up with the framework of a song, I kind of add the stuff on top, whether it's, let's change this chord, let's change this time signature, let's do this harmony.
Okay.
You know, let's add this section. The section, I don't know if you know, in Storm Surge, where it starts going into that...
Yeah.
That really big... Okay, so I wrote that in another song 10 years ago.
Yes, wow. Joe told us, and then you ended up putting it together, and then it just got another part and another part.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
so great.
Yeah. So I feel like that's kind of my role, and I don't know what it is. I'm kind of a sensitive person, so maybe it's like me writing all the stuff that wants to make me cry and go, Joe, put this in a song, you know, that kind of thing. You know.
That's what I would do.
But then again, I wrote a lot of the riffs for Chasing the Dragon, the last song, where I wrote them all on MIDI. There was
love
like 5.
That track.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so great. And 5 to 8 riffs I wrote and sent it to him. He goes, "Let me work on putting this into a song," and he like kind of arranged it. I'm like, "Yes, that's what I want," you know.
I love that. I love that you guys can work even long distance, because Joe told us how you guys recorded it. Basically, everybody from home, you know, with this new technology, and that's just fascinating.
It really
to
is.
me, you know.
It really is.
And I love when you say, I love to see, like right now when you said you're talking about your own music and you're like, man, it's so good, you know. You love what you do and you love your own. That's what it's all about. You have to love what you do, you know. When you hit the goal, you know.
I think there's two sides to that. One side is you do have to often sell someone on what you do. Like I've said it in other interviews where Joe's reaction when I send him stuff is, "Let me sleep on it." And then I'm like, I like roll my eyes like, you know, and then I wake up in the morning and he's like, "Oh, that's great. Let's put it in," you know, that kind of thing. But that's how he works, and that's totally cool, and I totally understand, because he has to sing the songs too.
Yeah.
He has to believe it, right? But there's also other times where I write something and either people don't like it as much or they don't deliver it the way you hear it, and then you're like I don't know if I really like. There's actually a part in the record, I don't want to get into it, that I wrote a small thing and something was played and I'm thinking to myself, I just would have never have done that, you know. But you know, it just, you have to, being in a band is a marriage. You have to kind of compromise. You have to compromise.
Now Joe's gonna ask you, what is that part you're talking about in the interview?
We've spoken about it before. We've had a little like he's like, "Really? Why?" I'm like, you know, but whatever, you know.
Everybody has their own like taste.
But and even when you talk about selling things to people, often this is like Nick mentioned before, people like Eric and others who have sponsored newly coming bands, it's also selling it to our audience when we do the reaction, like, guys, you keep saying that there's no good music out now. Maybe it's not what's on the radio, maybe it's not what's popular.
You have to find it.
Back in the day. You have to find it and be willing to
accept
open to it too,
Yeah.
because
that's the problem.
It's obvious people watch a lot more a reaction to Rush or a band that's already big, that they already like, versus a band that we're like, "Hey, it sounds like Rush, click on it, please."
Yeah.
No, it's actually like, Jason, I have to come up with like this really creative, like almost, and I don't like this, but I have to kind of like bait them.
Sure, it's kind of your job in a way, yeah.
I know, but I don't like to do it but I have to, because it's like, I put something on the title like, you're gonna love this 70s inspired prog, and then they're like, well, let's give it a chance, and then they click, oh my god, thank you. I'm like, that's what I was telling you.
And when they say thank you for showing this, I always say thank you for clicking on it, because
we're not making any money, you know.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, we're just trying to show you new stuff, but I was the same.
I was gonna say that we were exactly
Like
the
I
same
was like
with-
traumatized with like Yngwie Malmsteen, and then somebody would try and show me Joe Satriani. I was like, no, I'm not interested.
Right.
Because I was just young
and you think nothing can be as good as
Yeah.
what I like now.
I was in a band with a bass player who loved Selling England by the Pound by Genesis, and he was into that prog era of Genesis.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's like my favorite record by them. I'm like, you got to check out Marillion, especially Marillion's early stuff.
Exactly.
And he's like, I hate it. I'm like, why would you hate it? It's
I
the
know.
same thing.
It's
Like,
just-
what
yeah.
are you doing?
Yes, and that's what
People
I'm
are
saying.
just, they're very closed off with their,
Yes.
yeah.
We have. I'm so sorry.
no.
There's people that literally only watch or Rush reactions.
Yes.
And I'm like, come on, maybe some Gentle Giant.
Yeah.
Maybe some Dream Theater, because it's very similar to. I mean, Gentle Giant is a little bit off.
Yeah.
From Rush.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still just like open your mind, to new.
Yeah.
But I guess we were the same because we only listened to Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin and some Dire Straits, and only the first album. I don't even know why only the first album. It's like, you basically you limit yourself.
You create your own barriers.
Yeah, you're in
Yeah.
your
This
bubble.
is good enough. Like,
And
Yeah.
I'm sure you, Jason, you're not, because you're a musician. You're aspiring to, like, give me more information, Latin jazz, and then fusion, and then prog rock, metal. As a musician, and especially as a working musician, you have to kind of like look for new stuff. But just as a listener, I guess you kind of close yourself off.
But also, Jason, as a teacher, because,
yeah.
you are a teacher.
Yes.
You teach at Drummers Collective, New School University of the Arts. Like, what do you like most about teaching? Is it that, like, being an influence for a younger generation, the mentorship side, sharing technique? Like, what is it that you enjoy more about teaching?
That's a really, really great question, and it's a long answer because there's a lot to talk about. Actually,
Just take your clothes off. I'm just kidding.
The third time. That's the third time she really wants to see you.
Hey, Nick, this you got to have a talk with her.
I'm gonna leave the room. Okay.
Actually, if this is editable, first of all, I have time, and second of all, can I pee real quick?
Yes, of course.
Yes,
Okay.
Go ahead. We can literally pause.
I'm
Don't
Yeah.
going to pause that way.
Okay.
All right.
So we were talking about the collective, the places I teach, and
Yes.
So I've been teaching since I was 16 years old. I started really young. I just kind of got a bug for it. You know what, though? I always say that I didn't know how much I wanted to teach.
Okay.
If you guys know who Steve Smith is, the drummer of Journey and Vital Information.
Yeah, we were
love-
just talking about it.
I saw him actually in this band I played for Alexa, Vital Information.
Right, yeah.
My
yeah,
lord.
amazing. Yeah,
Amazing.
Steve's a friend for a long time. I've known him for probably 30 years, 25 years. And
Wow.
I was initially modeling. We both lived in the Bay Area at the same time, and I was initially modeling my hopeful career at the time because I was young. The way that he did it, where he would go out on the road with Journey, or at the time it was Vital Information because he wasn't back in Journey yet, and he'd come back for like 2 or 3 weeks at a time and teach, and then go back out on the road for like a month or two, and then come back and teach it. And that's what I was envisioning.
Okay.
But what ended up happening was because of the fact that I didn't have the band, I didn't have the gig, and I had just gotten out of a master's degree that had an assistantship in teaching. I immediately started getting much more into the teaching thing right away. And then, so for 10 years in California, I taught privately in stores and people's houses. And then when I got back to New York, which is where I always wanted to be, I had studied at the Drummers Collective in '92. And I was always like, I want to go there. I want to teach there one day. And by then I had the session stuff that I'd done and a book out and all this kind of stuff. And they're like, oh, you're really serious. Okay, cool. Why don't we bring you on and teach one of the rock classes and see how you do? And the students took to me right away and the schools took to me right away. So I've been at the Collective for since 2006.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
My lord.
Which has been it's been my day job for 20 years, and then new school, I've been doing adjunct stuff, and I was actually running the drum department at the University of the Arts in Philadelphia for about 4 years.
Nice.
But that has actually since closed. It's a long story. It's like a financial thing and some illegal stuff
Sad.
going on. It was weird. And then teaching has been So there's a part of it that has been everything in my life, okay? Everything from what I've done for the last 25 to 30 years on a daily basis to how inspirational it is to find, kids that started a certain, like the Collective is like a 2-year program. It's like a college program. And you see them come in as people who want to be hopeful players, and you see them leave as professional drummers.
Wow.
Yeah.
So cool.
And they know how to do Broadway, and they know how to read, and they know how to do all this kind of stuff. That to me is like everything in a program like that, right? But on the other side of things, so much stuff has changed in the education world with prices of colleges going through the roof, the internet, people finding things on YouTube for free, which is usually shitty stuff. You know what I mean? Sorry for the language.
No.
Hey, look, I'm from the East Coast, man. You should hear me go off. But anyway.
We've all been pretty decent, so...
We've been well-behaved, yes.
It's good.
But, the whole idea of just people finding stuff online and going and thinking that is sort of the gospel of the way to learn it. And it's like, no, that's not, first of all, that's not right. Second of all, you're not in a room with someone. Third of all, you're not learning the right progression to where you want to go. And one thing that being in a school like the Collective, it was like a family for a while. It's changed since, but we worked as a team. We brought people, we knew how to bring people from here to there to go to the next level, to see where their holes were. And they're a complete drummer by the time they leave, So I'm going through a big change in my life right now where I am trying to scale back on a lot of my teaching because my playing has been so prevalent in the last couple of years of being able to support myself and be on the road a lot just by playing. It's been like that for a while. It's been almost 10 years, but I'm really trying to sort of pull the cord on it now of a combination of just being a little burnt out, a lot of burnt out, and also not agreeing with how things are. I can't go to sleep at night sending a kid to college learning how to play the drums who's going to be $250,000 in debt when they get out.
I know. That is, thank you so much for sharing this, because we were just talking about, like education, like in Europe, that it's so different, or even like healthcare. Like my mom lives in Spain because we couldn't have her here. Like there's nobody who would have like taking care of her, and
she didn't have healthcare here.
So she moved to Europe, and because she's European, they took her in. So but obviously I'm not suggesting, hey, I want you to be on the road, I want you to be making music alive and playing, instead of like, have you ever tried teaching in Europe?
But you have, right? You've done clinics in Italy, Spain, Switzerland, China. That's so cool.
I guess we haven't had the time to get to that because we wanted to talk about your book. The Drummer's Bible.
Yes.
How did that
how that came? Well, first of all, as far as teaching, so I teach around the world. That's the joy of doing online, right? So in fact, I have like students in like literally like I come on at 8:00 at night and someone in Taiwan or Japan at 8 a.m. I'm like, oh my god,
wow,
it's amazing. I don't always love that because there's a language barrier and it's a little tricky to deal with that. But I have a lot of students who studied with me. The majority of my students in New York are all foreigners. So when they leave the school and they continue with me, I'm studying with them, in Italy.
Oh, that's nice.
You know what I mean? We're like we're sort of continuing that. So that's actually very joyful. So the book is when I was auditioning for graduate programs, I was specifically auditioning for a classical graduate program for me to learn and to teach drum set. So sort of two different, arms, two different areas. And I put together a manual that shows how to teach a bunch of styles. And years later, when I moved to San Francisco, I had a student, Mick Berry, who's my co-author, who said, you should really write a book. And I said, it's funny. I put together this manual already about teaching styles and how to break them apart and everything. And I put a little bit of history in them and everything. He goes, why don't we work on that? I have a friend who owns a publishing company. So we took 3.5 years to work on the Drummer's Bible and put it together like an encyclopedia for drummers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like this style, and this is where it comes from, and this is the history of it, and the players, and the bands, and all that kind of stuff. And it's sold close to 50,000 copies for a drum book.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Very happy about it. We had a real big mishap with Amazon. They're really tough to deal with, and it lost its steam, but it was like skyrocketing for a while, and it's been an incredible source of joy for me. For a while, it was good financially, not as much now, but it's been amazing. I'm so proud of it, and I'm actually working on my second one. Not the Drummer's Bible, something totally different right now. It's going to come out in the next...
The Drummer's Bible Part 2. No, just
no, actually, well, you know, funny. I have this Drummer's Bible is the second edition, so it kind of was the second part.
There you go.
Okay.
But this is a book on all polyrhythms and crazy shit and everything like that. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice. Man, I had such a good question and I forgot. It's gonna come back. It's gonna come back. But because I was also thinking about her dad loves to air drum. And I was thinking, like, do you think, Jason, that's a good idea to get him a little kit like these electronic kits? Because he can't make too much noise in the house.
Yeah. He says his dream is to be a drummer. And he's 63 years old.
That's awesome.
I know.
Yeah.
So we have a friend who's a drummer, and he's like,
and he can't. He used to live in an apartment, so he had to play electric with headphones. You know, it's like doop, doop, doop. It sounds like you did. Would you suggest that? And then would you suggest? I mean, the Drummer's Bible. That's a Bible. Yeah, that's for drummers. You know, to go into further. I guess the next. But do you think he could pull it off at 64?
Okay.
I mean, he puts in an hour a day or 15 minutes or something.
So all right. So I always say it's never too late to learn, right? Never too late. It might be a little too late to be a professional, but it's never too late to learn, right? So first, let me talk about the electronics. So the electronics, I am dealing with this all the time because I'm always teaching in big cities, and I'm dealing with people who can't play in their apartment. So they buy electronic drums, or they go to a studio that doesn't allow them to make a lot of noise or whatever it might be, and they really do make a lot of electronic drums these days that are really like quality products. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And the fusion of them with software and stuff is like super cool. Right? I actually have some electronics right back here. They don't.
Oh yeah.
They're old and they don't really work right now. But like that's the kind of thing that I do is I'll like hook up.
But they look cool.
Yeah, they do. I'm like the coolest person on the planet sometimes. But but what I might there's also like. So a lot of the newer electronic drums use mesh heads, so they're real quiet, and they actually make replacement mesh heads for real drums. So you can get him like a real drum set, change it to the mesh heads, and if he ever joins a band, he could go out and put the real drums heads back on.
Yes,
that would be cool.
Yeah, something like that.
I think we should just go with with something small and then just let him play. I think he would just obviously play just to play.
Yeah.
And I don't think he would join.
Like a kit, and then maybe like a few sessions.
Yeah.
At a local.
Maybe with you.
School.
No, I'm just.
Well, I don't know if he.
No,
would
he has.
learn
He has to start like very.
I could start him. If you wanted to do online, I could start him. It's totally fine. I could show him how to read and that kind of thing. Sure, but yeah, he'd be a little bit better in person with somebody who's very local.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Is he also in Denver?
Yeah, he's in Denver, and he actually played piano, so I think he can still read.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, he did play a lot of like piano, and here and there he'll play a piece or two, but he never really stuck with it. But he loves music, and he always says, "I'm a frustrated musician."
He's a big Latin jazz.
Cool.
Big, yeah.
Cool.
So
cool.
yeah, we were always thinking about that. Like giving
like
him a little drum kit and
like have it already set up, and he comes down and he's like, "Whoa." It's like that.
Well, why don't we talk off the interview about that? We can go back and forth on email. I could give you some suggestions.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what gear are you most excited about these days? We can even shout out some sponsors if you want.
Right there.
Yes.
What's your gear of choice these days?
So my gear of choice is I'm endorsed by all these companies, which I'm very blessed.
Okay.
Very blessed. This is the kit I'm using right now. This is my Yamaha. It's an absolute hybrid. It's a pink sparkle.
I love that.
And those are my signature
nice.
badges. If you can see, that's my signature on there.
Hello.
Nice.
Yeah.
So cool.
So we were talking about Weckl before.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I had this kind of, hybrid mess of a kit that was modeled after Neal. And it was like a Ludwig main kit, and then there's these concert toms that were made up, and all this crap all over the place. And then I saw Weckl play, and I'm like, what is he using? That's the best sound ever, and it was Yamaha. And Yamaha's a very, very, very selective company to be with as a drummer, because you have like Steve Gadd, you had Vinnie Colaiuta for a while, you had Weckl, you have, all these really big heavy hitters. And
now you. Hello.
I mean,
Yes.
look at this. Are you kidding me? Actually, it took me almost 15 years to get signed by them.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Were you actively pursuing that?
Yeah. I started
okay.
meeting some of the guys in like '97. I was teaching at a place in San Francisco called the Drum World. And I would go to the NAMM show and PASIC like every single year and just be like, I'm still here.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got hired at the Collective, I connected with them, and the guy that was the A&R guy for Yamaha actually left for Vic Firth, which is my stick company. Those are my custom sticks right there. Yeah. And he became the A&R guy, the artist rep for Vic Firth, and he signed. Oh no, somebody else signed me to Vic Firth, and then he took over at Vic Firth. So it was weird. It's very incestuous, you know. So Yamaha drums, Vic Firth sticks, Peisty cymbals. They were my first endorsement in '07. Yeah, right when I got with the Collective. Maybe it was '06. Maybe it was the end of '06. And then Remo drumheads. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then like a bunch of other, Humensenberg cases, Kickport, there's a product for bass drum, Hudson Music, which is what I'm going to be releasing my book on, and ProLogic's Percussion, which is a really great drum pad company. They're awesome drum pads. Yeah.
Wow.
That looks really nice.
Yeah, really cool. So
Looks very smooth.
I'm really lucky because for a very, very, very long time I pursued all the companies that I wanted to be with.
Of course.
That's nice.
When you're a musician, you're very enticed by the lure of like, hey,
Yes.
we could sign you, and then it ends up being, a company you don't
Gear that you
want.
wouldn't really use.
Yeah. And there isn't a company I'm with that I don't love, like that I'm like,
I love
I
that.
wanted to be with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's like I understand that. It's like playing a guitar, and now that is your guitar that you have to play,
Yeah.
but maybe you don't like it that much, the way it feels or the way it looks.
Yeah.
It must be really hard.
Yeah, because it's not like wearing a sponsored or endorsed hat.
Yeah,
It's
I
something
know.
that you have to feel comfortable with and play with, and
Yeah.
that's so cool that you.
Yeah, I'm very like even with I'm a big sports fan, and I'm very true and honest to what does your contract say. You know what I mean? This is one of the things that bugs me about really high paid athletes. Is what does your contract say? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're going against your contract, that's all we have in life is our word, is our handshake. A contract. And if you sign an endorsed artist's contract, you sign to represent them.
Absolutely.
So I'm very, very proud of the people, and also it's also about relationships. I mean, I don't love every single person. I'm not close to every single person in every one of my companies, but a good 5 to 6 of them in every one are like some of my best friends.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
great.
That's so
So
important.
really important.
Yeah, creating connections, and I loved when you first emailed us. You said you've used this word a few times throughout the interview, but very incestuous connection in the prog world.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we've found that too in reactions. It's like, oh, this guy played with this guy, and then he's
they're all a
also
big
on this
family, you
album.
guys.
Did
Yeah.
you guys recognize the flute player here? This is the same guy and we're like, oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah.
It's all kind of like connected in this beautiful way. And even when I was I obviously I talk about drummers or guitar players, and you're like, oh yeah, I played with this guy, I know him, like Bobby. I've always been very like
Jar Zombek, yeah.
Jar Zombek. I mean, I'm more of a
Spastic
I'm a
fan.
super fan of his of Spastic.
Yeah.
I mean, Ron Jar Zombek, he's like nuts, right?
Nuts.
But I love his like just so creative and so bizarre. But even Alexia was like, that stuff is bizarre. Like when I played her some spasticking on the channel, at the end she was like, I just had like a stroke.
Was it like mosquito bite?
Yeah,
something,
it was
brain
mosquito
surgery.
brain surgery. And it's all, it's like the time signatures are so ridiculous that she was just like having like a stroke. But and I was like, yay, and then at the end, so what do you think? I don't know, like I would not listen to this, and I was like, oh god, because I would listen to this literally 10 times a day. I was just like trying to understand it, and obviously it's impossible to play.
So Bobby
at the time.
took over for one of my favorite drummers of all time, Mark Zonder in Fate's Warning. And,
Oh yes.
and Mark, and I don't know how much you guys listen to Fates, but I'll give you a bunch of things to listen to.
Please do.
Not enough.
Yeah.
This is a shout out. A shout out to Tony. A guy who sent us all the Fates Warning CDs. Thank you again, Tony. We have to do more Fates Warning. You'll love it. It's just something that we haven't gotten to.
I know that what we've done. Same with Neal Morse. Like these are all.
There's just some stuff that we haven't been able to cover.
So Bobby replaced him.
So Fates started out as a band in the early 80s that was sort of like, prog metal, almost like, Iron Maiden-ish, a little darker, that kind of thing. Queensryche, that kind of thing. And then in when Mark Zonder came into the band in the late 80s, the whole band changed because his style changed the entire band, and he, to me, is the best part writer for drums I've ever heard. In fact, I've been on, if he's listening, hi Mark, I've been in touch with him lately because I've been wanting to just talk to him, you know what I mean? He's so amazing. But Perfect Symmetry and Parallels, you guys will die over Parallels. It's like their most commercial for prog metal commercial. It's almost like Empire by Queensryche. It's like that. And like the next 3 to 4 records are insane.
Okay, please send us the names of the songs you would like us to do.
Yeah.
We would love to.
I will.
And we're gonna say Jason said this was awesome. And I would love to, and especially Alexia, because she just got into, like, honestly, she just got into like metal, and then not even like heavy metal, not something ridiculous like, I don't know, like Pantera or something really like heavy, but just like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden. She didn't listen to that we've been together 15 years, and for the first like 12 years, she never listened to my stuff.
Yeah.
I would put on Dream Theater or something, or in the car, and she was like, I can't concentrate. Like, turn
it's
off
hard. It's hard.
But now she's like, she puts on Genesis and like, Gentle Giant and Liquid Tension in the car by herself. And I'm like, school.
I've seen some of your reviews, and I see you like crying by the end. I'm like, yes. I saw you guys cry at the end of The Wall by Kansas, which makes me cry all the time.
Man.
When I played that on stage, I was shaking trying to like hold myself, There's a couple Kansas songs I need to tell you guys about that you gotta listen to.
Please do. So are you actively like a sub for Kansas right now?
Yeah, it's a tricky situation. When you're in that type of a setting, you have to know it's not your gig. As much as you want it, it's not your gig. And the only thing you can do is be prepared and play through the set once a week or whatever.
Yeah.
And the last gig, when I played with them last month, I don't even know if you guys even knew, but there was this storm that went through the south that dropped snow in like the northern part of Florida.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yes. Because we used to live in Florida, so a lot of people that we have on Facebook and the medias and stuff. I'm very active there.
So Rich Williams, the guitar player, lives in like the mountains of Atlanta, and the drummer Eric, who's taken over for Phil because Phil is retired.
Okay.
He is in Destin, and they closed the bridges from Destin over to the airport. They just closed them.
Wow.
And you know how I found out that? They called me and they said, listen, are you able to come out for this gig? Actually, they wanted me for 3 gigs. And I said, well, I have these 2 shows in Atlanta with Mark Wood on Saturday. And then they're like, well, let's start with at least Thursday. And they said, I said, okay. And I didn't hear, and I didn't hear, and I didn't hear. And I contacted in the morning and I still didn't hear. And my wife and I were at like an estate meeting with a lawyer that morning. And their ticket agent, their travel agent's like, we need you, here's your ticket in 2 hours. I was like, oh my God, what the hell? It's tough.
That must be hard.
Yeah.
I'm a planner. I like to plan ahead, and I also have like a day job, and sometimes I also don't get my schedule, and I'm like,
yeah.
It's hard for me because you're kind of like on call.
Yeah.
So kudos for being so flexible, but of course it comes with the prestige of being able to play, but it must be hard for you. Kudos for your patience.
It's not easy. It's one of those gigs where you go, if I get a call for this, I'm going, but I run the risk of severing a relationship with the people that I'm supposed to have a gig that weekend with.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's not easy either. But yeah, to answer your question, I am on an active call for them. So if my phone rings and says you need to be here this weekend, I gotta work out plans.
Yeah, wow.
So I had a good question. It just came to my mind. Do you think we'll someday, like, do you have something planned, like just a Jason Gianni project? Your band, your music, your lyrics? Is that
funny?
You want to make it happen?
Funny you should ask. All right. So the answer to that, I think, is gonna eventually be no, as far as like a real active project, because I'm not really good, and I don't have a lot of time for the whole booking aspect of things and that sort of thing. But
because I even was gonna make it harder. I was like, and who would you pick as your musician? I mean, let's say you could just pick anyone. That's a little bit more obviously unreal because it's so difficult and everybody's busy. But who would you love to, like, if that band would ever happen, who would be your guys?
Well, I'm looking at a guitar player and a bass player right now, so yeah, there you go. No, I mean you guys. You guys.
Oh.
Hello.
You need to start 8 hours a day.
Step it up.
Yeah.
Pack your bags.
Ukulele? Do you need a ukulele or anything?
My daughter plays ukulele, so she's got that job already.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, she deserves it more.
She's
than I do.
already that seat in.
But yeah, that is a good question though. Like,
I guess just
so
like a dream list.
Yeah. So to answer your question briefly, for this new book, it's going to be in 2 parts, and part 1 is not going to have, but part 2 is going to eventually have charts and original songs to play with. They're already written. I have about 6 or 7 original songs, and they've already been recorded and that kind of thing. Really difficult stuff. In fact, one of them is so difficult that I recorded it a couple years ago, and I can't even play it now. It's like, yeah. I listen to it and go, why the fuck did I write this? What is wrong with me? Yeah. So, but I think they will eventually be released in that type of format, like a book educational format.
Okay.
But I don't just don't have it in me to do my own sort of booking and that kind. I just but
it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. But the original side of things, I've had people play live and all that kind of. As far as who to line up, well, the guitar player that I've been working with, I work with a lot of guys in the TSO world, right? So I work often with Angus Clark, who, if you've seen TSO West, he's the guy with the long blonde hair that plays guitar.
Oh, yeah.
There's a guy that was in our band. You guys would love this band. I should send you a copy of a band called Daredevil Squadron, which was a side project of TSO. And the guitar player, the other guitar player in that is Aurelia Bedinek. He's from France, lives in the United States. He's been sort of my partner with this stuff. He played bass and guitar, and then I played keys and drums. Guys from the Neal Morse band, they've played some stuff for me. I mean, it's so scattered. I'd have to think about, like, maybe I should call him up for a track or something.
Yeah, but because this question is almost like asking an actor, like, what movie would you like to direct?
Right.
Yeah.
And then the actor's gonna be like, hey, give me a break. I'm an actor.
Yeah.
I act. I don't direct. That's just, it's almost like the same question.
Right.
It's asking Tom Cruise, to direct a movie.
What mountain would you jump off tomorrow? And not have a double
My
for
God, yeah.
But he doesn't.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
That's the crazy part, that he doesn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's that kind of situation, because I would say the same. Like, I just play guitar.
Yeah.
Yes, I do write, but that's a hard task, and I think as a group, it's always a group. It's a joint effort, like you and Joe kind of like bounce off each other, and it's so much fun. I think it must be exhausting to write everything by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Aurelian had helped me a lot with the mixing and the arranging of the stuff that we did put together. I mean, look, if I had a choice, I'd be able to come up with a list of like I actually wrote a 20-minute song with Neal Morse for Neal Morse, but he hasn't confirmed to sing it. It's sort of a long story. I mean, he's the guy that I'd want singing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that voice is amazing.
Yeah. And I wrote melodies with him in mind of like, oh my God, I could totally see him, singing this. I certainly have a list, but I'd have to really think about paring it down and being like, okay, these are the 4 guys that I want or whatever. But yeah, at some point, some of my original stuff, it's a little bit more, actually, I played them at clinics. I play a lot of these songs at clinics, but it's a little bit more from an educational standpoint of like, look, if you're going to do this exercise, and this is 3 in this hand and 4 in this hand and 5 in this foot, this is how you could put it into a song, that kind of thing.
Yeah. That's just so marvelous, like, about drummers, how you guys basically you know, split your brain into like these sections, and
Yeah.
you're doing all this, like what you were saying, 3 here, 4, and then 5, and then all these rhythms at the same time. That, like, how do you guys do that? I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's a long. It's. I mean, I have a whole system of how to write it out and how to, you know, think about it, and you know, a lot of people. It's not for everybody too. I mean, I've done some videos where I'm doing like, you know, 5 against 6 against 4 against 8, and people will go, "That's just noise," you know, and I'll go, "Well, that's really hard to play that, but okay, I get it," you know.
That's really hard noise.
Yeah.
Took me a lot of time.
Yeah.
It's also so funny. Some people like listen to music that I react to. I just say, have you heard?
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Like, have you heard to this? And people are
show
like,
people.
oh, it's just like, there's no emotion. It's just fast. And it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Like, of course there's emotion. Like, speed is drama.
Yeah.
To get from one note to the other in a specific, like, you know,
Amount of
velocity.
time. Yeah.
Or that when you get there, it's like the
Yeah.
Right.
you know, and a lot of people are like, that's just like noise, it's too fast. And I was like, well, they don't understand.
Yeah, it's hard. It's remember, you're dealing with the public. They're not. I mean,
Yes.
It's,
Exactly.
yeah.
you know.
They're used to the radio, and that's also something that I'm so sad about. Like, for example, something like Stratus Furious. Why don't they do it? Why is it more public?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like all this. I don't want to offend anyone, but it's garbage.
Yeah.
What they play on the radio. What's really selling millions. They're making so much money for this really bad music, honestly.
You know-
and some of it is good, yes, of course. But I mean, most of the stuff is like, and it's sad for me to see like your little sister, like I love her to death, but the music she listens to is just like bad.
Yeah.
And I played her some Judas Priest, and I remember the first time I played her Painkiller, she was like, whoa. You know? And but then obviously she grew up and she got into like this what is it called? Bad Bunny, Medicatenga BS. You know, it is what it is.
I was in a band in San Francisco called MIGS, MIGGS, and you could see it, you could find it online. And they were like, you know, Matchbox 20 meets Gin Blossoms, you know, kind of like that kind of poppy band. Really great. I mean, we have a record called Insomnia that was beautiful.
I love Matchbox 20, so I'm like, hello.
Check out. I'll send you guys a copy of that record.
Okay,
all right?
okay,
It's
that'd be
really
great.
good. It's really, really good. You know, we were trying to make it. We were trying to break. That's what kept me in San Francisco for so long. And you know, the things that you deal with the industry people are so, you know, absolutely insane. You know, that first of all, so much of it's about money and how much is being put in and who has the money. And second of all, it's just everything is about a risk. It's like, no, it's too risky to put this on. It's too risk. You know, and it's like but you guys are the ones that are promoting it. If you would promote this, people would like it. You know, and that's the thing that bothered me. Like we were playing the Roxy in LA, and we had somebody from Colombia come out and see us, and my friend was sponsoring the show, brought us on, helped us do like a whole like showcase where the curtain went up, and you know, it was a whole thing, right?
Oh, cool.
And the guy left after 2 songs. And and we found this out later, of course, but my friend was at the door and he goes, wait, where are you going? You didn't like the band? And he goes, the singer looks too much like Dennis Quaid, and walks away. And that was it.
Are you serious?
That was his reason.
Insane.
I was like,
that is insane.
So it's all about optics. It's all about visuals.
I mean, I put in years
It
of
can be
study
anything.
on my instrument, and that's
Yeah.
what I get. You know, it's like, what? You know?
That's
So-
Insane. That's
Yeah.
insane. But
Wow.
that
is the
business,
world.
you
That
know,
is the
yeah,
business.
the industry.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's the same with Hollywood. It's when right? Dennis Quaid. Yeah, but it's with Hollywood. Then they find one actor and one actress, and then they kind of like squeeze them to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every movie is the same. It's right now with Pedro Pascal.
Yep.
He's like in everything.
I
He's
love
like,
him, though. Sorry.
yeah, of course, I love him too. But
yes.
he's like in. It's like almost it breaks the barrier of reality because
Right.
he's in so much that you can't even take him seriously.
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
But that's what they do
They
because
do.
it's like he's selling. He's in Star Wars. He's in The Last of Us. He's in Gladiator. He's in Narcos.
Yeah.
It's like it's too much. He's even like a voice actor, and you don't even know. And then it says Pedro Pascal, voice actor.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's what they do.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's like, and that's when they kind of like, and then they fall off, and then it's goodbye.
Yeah, and then that's it.
And then there's these legendary actors. There will always be in style. Like I don't know. I guess
Brad
don't
Pitt.
know.
Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Well,
They're
look
the
at
ones
look
that
at them
are-
for Christ's sake, you know.
But yeah, there's still like, I guess, you know, they've maintained their thing throughout the 80s,
Yes.
and they're still kind of like doing it. But yeah, it's crazy. It's just like the industry, like the movie industry and the music industry is so difficult.
It's just,
so
yeah,
difficult.
there's just been a lot of stuff that I've been so turned off over the years from, you know, and it's difficult because your dreams are out there, but sometimes when you put in all this time for something and you realize, you know, there have been a lot of times where I go, I took the wrong route. I studied too much. You know, I should have just been on the streets, you know, and you know, it's a tough thing.
Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah, I mean, I do. It is awesome though that you are open to doing so many things, and that's why, you know, you right now, like you said, you're full of work, and it's great. Maybe not for your mental health, like you said, but it is great that you've been able to kind of find your way and stay relevant and teach and do clinics and have your own band and sub, and it's great. And it because you didn't close any doors for yourself, I think is why you have so much work. So
thank you. That's so sweet of you. And I think that the difficulty is that, at least for me, I have good work ethic, right? So if I had another job, I would be fine just because I'd have respect and I'd work well. But I don't know anything else, guys. I don't know anything else. If I had to stop and get another job tomorrow, I wouldn't even know where the hell to start. I wouldn't know what to do. Again, like if I got a job, if I worked in an office, if I did some sort of IT thing, I would do a good job because I'd show up on time every day and I'd work hard.
Right.
But I don't know that the way I know this. You know what I mean? So the only thing that I could do, this is one of the things that bugs me about people who do become famous, because they don't like make the best. Like I think of a doctor or a lawyer. My father-in-law was a radiologist, and it was really well known with those mesothelioma cases that you see on like commercials all the time, right? You could ask him a question about anything medical and he would know the answer around the clock. He'd say, well, I'm not a specialist, and he'd say it, and then you go to a doctor and then your doctor would tell the same thing that he said. Right?
Yeah.
Why aren't artists more like this? I can't understand it. We work in the only business where you don't need to be educated and well-rounded and know about your business. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Jason, literally, you just took the words out of my mouth, because I see so many people that are super famous and they don't know anything about music. They don't know how to read. They don't know how to write. They're just it's all like a fantasy, you know? Like, I don't want to say any names because I don't want to be mean, but the real musicians, the real powerhouses, like the real talented people, they don't get any freaking credit. That's insane, because like all the work you guys put into it, like all the thousands of hours like you guys put into your craft to be like, so this guy comes along and he literally plays the simplest, something that I could play on the drums, and I don't play the drums, and he gets paid millions of dollars for doing that. There's something wrong. You know, on the
I think where it becomes difficult, like for me, I've actually, as I've gotten older, I've gotten a lot more private, and I think about some of the dreams I had when I was younger, and I'd be like, you know, if I was in Kiss, my life would be ruined, you know, because I've had to,
you can't even do what you want to do.
I've had to deal with, you know, bodily, you know, health stuff, you know, things that like I've had to do behind closed doors, you know, that I couldn't be able to do that in public. Where it gets difficult is the financial side of things. Okay, when you're working so hard and you have so many things on your plate and you're juggling so much and you're not getting that financial, you know, benefit in return. That's really hard thing. I mean, I've been doing pretty well the last couple of years, but I've had years where I've been really busy and I'm like, that's all I made this year, you know, like, you know,
I'm sorry.
It's difficult, but it's, as I've gotten older, it's coming back to me, you know, with the people that I'm playing with, the acts that I'm playing with, the money, you know, the way we've been able to put stuff away. But after all, it is a career. It's not it's not a temporary job. So you have to plan in long term anyway. You know what I mean? So
everything, yes.
Yeah.
We've even talked about it with your dad, you know, like that's an example. I mean, he's right now doing this stuff, but is it gonna be forever? You know?
Yeah.
And then you have to plan ahead what's gonna what if you
Yeah.
can't do that anymore? Then
Yes.
what's gonna
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, it is hard.
It's tough.
Well, I think you've had a wonderful career. I think you are doing very, very great work with
Yeah.
Stratus Furious,
And you're a wonderful guy,
Staying
man.
Oh,
Really.
thanks.
yourself,
You too, guys.
you know,
Yeah.
I think is very commendable. So yeah, and thank you so much. We have a lot to talk about backstage, I feel like, so let's set some time for that.
Yes.
But I had something fun. I had a little fun
Lightning
activity.
round.
I wanna
Woo!
do,
Yeah.
yeah, lightning round activity. So it's going to be 4 questions. The quicker you answer it, the more points you get. I don't know what the points are going to get you. Song reactions. Okay, so let's do it. Number 1, dream band you'd love to drum for, living or dead?
Living. You're asking me. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, crap. You know what? Artist.
Talk.
Gianni.
Tick, tock. Gianni?
Yes.
Gianni.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
Okay,
I
that's
did not
good.
expect
That's
that.
I know
That's
that's
good.
nobody does, but the orchestra and
Yes,
all the
he
odd
is
meters,
good.
the Greek meters, all that stuff. Gianni.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Very nice.
Most challenging song you've ever had to learn?
Well, the one song that I wrote that I told you is driving me absolutely bonkers. But there probably isn't one, but mostly like the really extreme metal stuff. I can't really play that really
Okay.
crazy stuff. Yeah.
Okay, drummer of all time.
I mean,
One.
That's
Just
such a
one,
bad-
Jason.
it's a-
Tick tock, tick tock.
damn it! I'm gonna say Vinny Colaiuta.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Good one. And then the last one, a genre you secretly love playing but people wouldn't guess.
I like.
Is it the porn music?
Yeah, I was-
You know it's the porn music.
I like accompanying ballerina dancers. I don't know. Gee, the thing is, I play so many genres, so there isn't one that I like kind of say, oh, this is weird, you know?
You've covered.
I've
it
kind
all.
of covered it all, and
That's true.
you know,
That's
I've
true.
And I love the porn music one that you threw in there.
but I didn't see. I actually did it. So you know.
Yes, I love it. You should have had a couple of more. This.
No, I know.
But yeah, but
this has
but
been
we want to
so-
respect your time.
So fun and so wonderful getting to know you, Jason. Thank you so much for your time.
I
Yeah.
even told Joe, like, hey, if you want to do it
Yeah,
again,
part
you know,
2, or you're
know?
always welcome on the show if you ever want to do a reaction with us.
Yeah.
we could react
There
to
is a
some
way.
really
Good.
crazy music that we haven't heard either
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah.
That's a good
And
idea.
oh man, that would be so
Or
much fun.
if you show us something here with the program that we're using, Riverside, which we'll link in the description. If any of you guys ever want to use Riverside, use our link. You are able to put a screen, like we can share a screen, we can watch something together,
Like
or we can
Spotify
listen
also?
to something together. Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
So we could do that.
Yeah.
You know?
All that
But,
sounds
it-
promising. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
been wonderful having you, Jason. Thank you so
Thank
much. You
you.
guys, please go
Thank
check
you.
out the new Stratus Furious album, Impostor, at
Yes.
stratosband.com. Check out Jason's socials.
Subscribe to his channel,
yes.
por favor,
Yeah.
please.
Gracias.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this, and support your local music, support your musicians.
Buy CDs,
Buy CDs.
LPs, don't download and don't stream.
Go to
correct.
shows.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jason,
Thank
so much
you
for
guys.
sharing your time
Really
with
love
us.
you guys. All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Love you too.
All right,
Bye.
bye.